There's no doubt that the LEGO video game series has had a few hits and misses in the past. While some games have been great, the series has been seen as a cash cow rather than anything remarkable. I don't blame them. These games are made for kids and they will force their parents to buy anything they deem as exciting. After turning almost everything in the kitchen sink into a game, Warner Bros. Has decided to take a step back and work on the biggest and most ambitious LEGO game ever made. This game is LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. The game spans all 9 main movie releases and includes dozens of locations from across the Star Wars saga. It is also the first time we've been able to play a LEGO game based on the events of the last 2 Star Wars movies, The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. As safe as the last 3 movies were, and regardless of what Star Wars fans think of the story, the game is here and it is packed with content.
I'm getting pretty good at this.
There are a few things we look for in a LEGO game. These games are often a bit ridiculous and turn violence into comedy, sadness into laughs, and they don't shy away from being the class clown wherever possible. LEGO games for the most part are also watered down experiences with easy combat puzzles, and the general flow of each game tries hard to keep things simple. It is a kid's game, so these features are a must-have.
I will.
May the Force be with you.
LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga isn't a remaster of older games, and instead has been built from the ground up, while at the same time the game has still managed to bring the iconic LEGO flavour to the experience by making it incredibly accessible. The gameplay doesn't necessarily go above and beyond to try anything new, and while the 9 stories provide a lot of content, they start to blend into each other after a while. The game is divided across a range of chapters. Right from the start, I was able to choose between 3 starting points that span the first movie in each supposed trilogy. As I completed each chapter, the next movie and story unlocked and so forth. This means you can't just jump into a movie at any time, and the game tries to follow a storyline. Sadly, this is a LEGO game, and just like past games, it really doesn't excel in storytelling by any means. The stories are often delivered through sporadic chapters that cut out a lot of the story, characters and key moments. It doesn't help that the voice acting is muffled, the sound quality is compressed to death, and the overall lack of polish forced me to care less about the story. If I had no knowledge of the Star Wars movies' stories, I would have no idea what was happening in this game. Each of the 9 chapters in the game takes around 30 minutes to complete. Some are quicker and some are longer. To no surprise, the game also encourages players to return to each chapter with new characters in order to unlock new parts and items in the story. This is something we have been doing in LEGO games for the longest of time now. The big difference in LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga is that each chapter is delivered across a range of planets and locations that have been built to represent where the said story takes place in the movie. This means there's a lot of mindless traveling around. In fact, some chapters had me flying to a new planet just to start the next story arc, watch a cinematic, and then travel to another planet to do the same thing. I get it, this is what LEGO wanted. They wanted a game world built across the entire Star Wars series, and each so-called story mission had to have its own location. However, it does nothing but further detach you from the story the game is trying so poorly to tell. After a while, these missions became a blur because they were happening so quickly, and I was just traveling around, chatting to some dude, watching a cutscene and moving on. During some gameplay sessions, I felt like I was barely actually playing the game. I mostly blame the game's open world hub design for this issue. LEGO wants players to run around each of these worlds, chat to people, smash things and collect bricks. If you aren't doing this in between the story missions and you're just following the story and then from one chapter to the next, it sometimes just means watching a cutscene and moving on. However, I do have to praise the general gameplay in LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. When it does happen, it is great, even if it feels way too easy and dumbed down most of the time. Some story missions were delivered through unique encounters and boss fights that set them apart from other chapters. During one specific mission, I took control of Han Solo and Rey while I explored a junk ship. I then had to switch between the 2 of them while unlocking a path for each of the characters to follow. There are some excellent set pieces that take place on land, under the sea and in space. LEGO didn't hold back when it came to recreating the best scenes from the movies. If you are a Star Wars fan, there's a lot to love here when it comes to the fandom, and you might even notice some smaller details that LEGO included just for the fans. It also helps that this game, just like past LEGO games, is also fully playable in co-op. So some missions would be even better with a friend at your side. I'm not going to say some chapters didn't bore me to death, but there are better moments in this game than there are worse ones. Don't judge the game by the first movie's chapter, for example. It's extremely boring. That is all I'm saying. Things get better the later into the 9 films you get.
What are you talking about?
LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is a huge game, and it packs hundreds of characters to unlock, ships to build, and a lot of planet surfaces to cover. There's even a dedicated skill tree to progress through as you play the game. Skills are divided into character arcs such as Jedi, Darkside, Droids, etc., and buff certain attacks, grant greater health bars, and even unlock unique skills for different classes. Sadly, these skills feel a bit uninspired, and if anything pointless. You could probably play the entire game without even touching any of these skill trees. I only focus on increasing my sprint speed in the world and the radius in which I could collect studs, but you can increase the climbing speed of scavenger characters, deploy holograms as droids, and even get discount from shopping as a scoundrel. I think that is my biggest issue with LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. The real meat of the game found in the free play mode isn't very fun. After finishing the 9 main chapters, you'll have to go back and replay them a few times to collect all the build kits and blocks. This requires different characters that will have to be unlocked first, not to mention that each location is littered with blocks and items to find that also require different characters and skills, so expect to backtrack up and down quite a lot. There also isn't really much to do in each world. The hubs are mostly large open spaces with no life whatsoever besides smashing objects to get studs. Some NPCs do have side missions to complete that reward you with new characters, but these aren't remotely entertaining. There are over 1,100 blue bricks to collect in the game, and most of them are hidden behind puzzles, rumors, and just running around these hubs doing mindless stuff.
Definitely what to do.
LEGO has definitely achieved making the biggest game in the series, but sadly this has come with watered down content that is spread way too thin across the galaxy. Those who love collecting stuff will spend months in this game, but I just don't see how the substantial amount of activities will keep you excited to go back for more. Where I loved LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga was during the main chapters. Sure, I ran around a lot just to get to another core experience, but the missions and general gameplay across the 9 chapters kept me entertained. Apart from that, I didn't find much fun in the world and free play mode. It is huge and there's so much to do, but sadly none of it is really much fun. And those are my thoughts on the LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Are you picking the game up? Let us know down below. Be sure to check out www.glitchedonline for all your gaming tech and pop culture news. Until next time, farewell.